Hi students, Jordan here and welcome back to Bio 25 Online. It is the third and final installment of our muscle unit, so congratulations on making it this far and learning a good majority of the skeletal muscles in the human body. Go ahead and pat yourself on the back. You guys should be really proud. Without further ado, we're just going to get into the video and wrap up this unit so that you guys can get to studying for your exam, which again opens up on Monday, April 20th.
So to wrap up this unit on muscles, we're going to spend today talking about the muscles of the leg. So you'll be working out of page 81 in your lab manual, and just to give you a little preview of what we'll be talking about, today we will cover the muscles of the anterior thigh and pelvis, the medial thigh, the posterior thigh and pelvis, the anterior and lateral leg, and the posterior leg. Just to reiterate what we've been saying this whole time, you will need to be able to identify these muscles based on a picture, so you'll need to be able to look at a picture and go, okay, this picture is showing this muscle, and you'll need to be able to know the muscle's function or action. So we're going to get started with the muscles of the anterior thigh and pelvis. First up, we have the iliacus muscle, which sits inside of the iliac region of the pelvic girdle, so maybe that can help you remember its name. Next, we have the psoas major muscle, which rests above the iliacus. After that, we have the sartorius, shown in this middle picture here, which extends from the top of the hip basically to the top of the tibia. So as you can see, it's a very long muscle. And stick around towards the end of the video, I give you a fun fact about this muscle. Finally, we have what is called the tensor fascia latae, which is on the side of your hip, and it actually tenses your IT band, hence the name. In this picture, we see four muscles, and these four muscles actually make up your quadriceps. So first we have the vastus intermedius, vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, and on top of the vastus intermedius, we have the rectus femoris. So again, those four muscles make up your quadriceps. Next, this muscle here highlighted in green is called the gracilis muscle, and it is the innermost leg muscle. Now we are going to talk about the gluteal muscles. So the only two gluteal muscles you need to know are the gluteus maximus and gluteus medius. The gluteus maximus is actually the biggest muscle in our bodies, and it sits on top of the gluteus medius, which is underneath. Now we're going to talk about the muscles of the posterior thigh and pelvis. As you can see here, there are only a couple you need to know. The semimembranosus, which is shown in yellow, the semitendinosus, which is shown in blue, and then the biceps femoris, which is actually the bicep muscle of the leg, so kind of funny that you have a bicep muscle in your arm and in your leg. Now we're going to be talking about the muscles of the anterior and lateral leg. So here we have the tibialis anterior, which is basically just the anterior muscle of your tibia, pretty easy to remember that. And then the fibularis longus, which is this muscle on the outside of your leg. Now we're going to talk about the muscles of the posterior leg, and this includes the gastrocnemius, which is basically your calf muscle, and then underneath that you have the soleus muscle, which is actually kind of shaped like a fish, which is why it's named that. Next, we have the tibialis posterior, and you can see here in this picture, it's basically just the posterior tibia muscle. And finally, we have the plantaris, which is actually located on the back of your knee. So just to give you guys an idea of what we would expect you to know if we were in class together, here's a picture of a leg model, and as you can see on this leg model, all the muscles we went over today are labeled. I won't use this exact picture for your exam because I don't think it's entirely clear, but this is just to give you guys an idea of what these muscles look like on an anatomical model. So that's all we're going to cover today. If you have any questions, you know where to find me and you know how to reach out. And without further ado, I will give you our fun anatomy fact of the day, which is that the body's longest muscle is the sartorius. Remember that muscle we talked about that goes all the way from the top of the hip to basically the top of the tibia? Yeah, that's the sartorius. It's actually called the Taylor's muscle because back in the day, that was the muscle that would help people when they were pushing their pedal on their sewing machines. Fun fact.
Okay, so hopefully that helped things make a little bit of sense. As always, if you guys have any questions, you know where to find me. Feel free to reach out. And without further ado, I will just remind you to stay safe, stay kind, and stay healthy, and I will see you in the next one.